you're not typically going to be rotating your legs to walk around. It's not gonna get you very far. So, yeah, flexion and extension are the more functional of the four movements. And an example of them working together to kind of show you how they work. When you're walking, say you're leading with your right leg. So your right leg is going to extend at your hip and your knee to go forward. And while you're doing that, your left leg is simultaneously going to be flexing at your knee behind you. And then your body is going to pivot forward, and your left leg will now extend in front of you at your knee and your hip. And your right leg's going to flex behind you, sorry. And you're going to keep doing this while you walk until you get to wherever you're going. There's no part of it, typically, if you're going in a straight line, you're not going to be rotating. Unless you're like you've decided to walk over something and you have to step out really wide, or if you just feel like walking sideways. But typically, in just a regular straight line, you're going to only be using flexion and extension. So, they're more functional, you're going to work with these more, and that's okay, because most people, that's what we're working on when we work with gross motor skills and legs, at least in my experience in sessions. So there's all sorts of things you can do to work on these four skills in sessions with music experiences. The easiest way to work on these is going to be with dancing. It's going to be, no matter what, it's probably going to be very active. When we think about it, working with instruments more so is going to be with our arms and hands and our trunk, because that's what the instruments are built for. We don't typically have a lot of instruments built for our legs and feet. Sometimes we do. And if they're not, you can adapt them, but sometimes it's just safer for the instrument and for the person to not adapt things for their legs, just for safety reasons. But you can use those. But I'm going to talk more about the more active things that we can do with our full body that target our legs. So, some things you can do, you can put on music and you can have them work on specific dance moves, like say, let's do the can-can, and then you can work on your flexion and extension of your legs. With kicking, you can say, let's march, or let's skip, or gallop, or hop, and just have them try those different motions, because even though it's really similar movements, they're going to be mostly flexing and extending. It's using more energy in different parts of the leg. So with hopping, you're going to be doing a lot of flexing and extending at your knee versus your hip. With skipping, you're going to do a lot of mixed things. With gallop, it's going to be mostly up your hip. So it just depends on what you want to target, but you can use different things like that. Another thing, more specifically, what I like to do with dancing to work on gross motor skills with legs, are two different experiences. I like to do the hokey pokey, in which I'll take tape and make a big square on the floor, and I've made a die with each face being a different part of the body. I have the head, the arms, legs, feet, hands, and trunk, but you can customize it however you'd like. Have whatever body parts you want to work with. But I can give, we can play the song, they can roll the dice, and it determines the body part that has to go in, as in the song, put your right foot in, or whatever body part, and you can make them hop with your right foot in, things like that. Make it a little more customized, that way you're getting a fun way to do the same activity you might do otherwise in just regular dancing, but just a little more fun. Another one I like to do is the song If You're Happy and You Know It, but instead of our typical clap your hands, stomp your feet, shout hooray, I've made little cards with different actions on them, and you can customize these as well to not only work with motor skills, but with any kind of skills, really. So I have a bunch of cards, and they say things like quack like a duck, so you can pull out a card, and if you're happy and you know it, quack like a duck, or clap your hands, or you can do, for example, the work on legs, We can do hop like a kangaroo or wiggle your body like a jellyfish. Just different ways to approximate those motions and still kind of frame them in a silly, fun, different way. If you want to do something a little less aggressively working the muscles of your legs to work on these 4 actions, flexion, extension, lateral, and medial rotations, you can do stretching and yoga. That way you're still working the legs, but it's kind of just building that strength, especially if someone doesn't have as much muscular strength in their legs, but they still would like to work on using those muscles and flexing and extending and rotating, etc. And this way you can just kind of be a little more gentle and work on these. So yoga is really good, and just stretching, and you can use a yoga ball to have them sit on the yoga ball, and that way they're going to be working a little bit more on balance, which is also going to be good for just the whole body. Or you can have them use a ball also to do things like kick. You can kick to a song with the ball. You can have it use it for stretching. You can make it however you want, but there's plenty of ways to adapt things so that you can work on your gross motor skills with your legs.